Whatever, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we should just cover this final one. A $26 million taxpayer-funded Skid Row campus is now under fire over drug overdoses. Listen. This basically, it's a services hub in downtown Los Angeles. As neighborhood leaders and law enforcement, they're sounding the alarm over an explosion of violent crime and drug overdoses located on Crocker Street, like Crocker, like from Fairly Odd Parents. The recently opened Skid Row Care Campus was pitched by county officials as the state-of-the-art sanctuary, offering low-barrier resources to the city's unhoused population, homeless, the bum population. I love how we call them unhoused now. There's like a weird, it's like prostitutes. We can't call them prostitutes anymore. Suddenly they're sex workers. Okay, yeah, they're real confident and they're full of life and they're full of energy and they really love the job they're doing, whatever. I'm sure they do. That's, Sodom and Gomorrah happened for a reason. Anyways, instead, the facility has been dubbed a meth mansion by furious community critics who say the surrounding streets have been quickly devolved into an unmitigated 24/7 disaster zone. At the center of the raging controversy is the facility's strict adherence to harm reduction. Listen, harm reduction, if you hear these two words together, keep in mind these policies include handing out clean needles, pipes, and other drug paraphernalia to users without requiring them to enter substance abuse treatment. This, in general, is a disgusting practice that we've only proven. It only lowers overdoses. It only lowers AIDS transmission rates, and people will go, well, that's enough of a reason to do it. That's enough of a reason to do it. We don't want people to stop doing drugs. We just don't want them to die. They act like that's the real issue. The people dying is the issue. It's not the fact that they are using drugs that turn their skin into crocodile skin. Listen. Los Angeles Police Department reports that conditions around the campus have already deteriorated dramatically, with officers responding to the surrounding blocks nearly 700 times in just a few months this year. Even more alarming to law enforcement is the severe concentration of violence, including 4 separate homicides recorded right outside the facility's doors in a 4-month span. The campus is operated by 3 prominent local health nonprofits. Community records reveal the site was explicitly designed to restrict law enforcement monitoring. What? It was also marked eventually to serve as a sanctioned safe consumption site for supervised drug use, which remains illegal under California state law. Frustrated business owners and local residents have reported witnessing a continuous cycle of open-air drug dealing, rampant overdoses, and street fires. It sounds like Minneapolis. They're demanding an immediate city intervention, pointing out that while the facility closes its doors at 10 o'clock every night, the surrounding neighborhood is left to deal with the volatile and dangerous fallout until morning, because it's like turning off. Imagine if in Ghostbusters, instead of like closing the shop every night, they like turned off the machine that held all the ghosts. So instead of holding all the ghosts in one building, they just it's breeze, and they spread out all through New York City, breeze, and then like suddenly Slimer is eating hot dogs out of a cart, but it's like a homeless guy who's like a meth out of his mind. He's like smoking with this little bubbler device. It's sitting in a prescription pill bottle somehow. It's like, how is he getting that to burn? They're monsters. They're less than human, unfortunately. They're at a certain point of drug addiction, you become a less than human. You become this sort of like a mannequin. You become more like a decoration piece for the city that you occupy. You're not like a participating member of it. You just collect the money that the government is willing to hand out to you. It's disgusting. Whatever.
Drug use, rising violence, and a growing sense that no one is stepping up to stop it. On Friday, Fox 11 exposed disturbing scenes outside of the Skid Row Care Campus, a downtown LA harm reduction center. Fox 11's Gina Silva joins us here in studio with more on this growing problem in a story you'll see only on Fox 11. Gina?
That's right, Laura. Residents and the LAPD say conditions around the $26 million taxpayer-funded facility have deteriorated dramatically. So we reached out to the elected officials responsible for overseeing the area and also funding the facility.
Drug deals in broad daylight. People openly getting high on the sidewalk.
Fuck yeah.
Overdoses right outside the Skid Row Care Campus, taxpayer-funded facility that distributes drug paraphernalia as part of its harm reduction services.
Disgusting.
That are homeless died from a drug overdose. So I don't know how continuing to enable people like this is really helping.
After residents and the LAPD sounded the alarm about violence, drug use, and 4 homicides near this harm reduction campus.
This all goes back to the AIDS epidemic, where we decided the issue was not that people were switching needles, not the idea that people are doing these drugs in the first place. The idea was like, well, we should just give these guys, if they're going to do the drugs, we at least want them to use clean needles, so we need to fund needle programs. Like, what person thinks that in order to solve the prostitution problem, you make condoms free to the people who are prostitutes? What are we doing?
We reached out to Councilwoman Isabel Jurado because Skid Row Care Campus is in her district. She issued a statement that says in part, "We cannot solve Skid Row by criminalizing poverty or pushing people from block to block.
Yes, you can.
The goal must be both. Meaningful services and housing for people in crisis, and a safe, healthy, and well-supported environment for everyone who lives and works in the neighborhood."
Well, they don't live in that neighborhood. They've settled into that neighborhood, much like Israelis settling in the West Bank, and they don't work in that neighborhood unless you consider work to be them getting money from open-air drug markets.
Have her full statement up on our website.
I have mentioned many times to the council member, and on one occasion, I was able to drive her around the location. And I realized that she knew just how bad the situation was. And one of the things that I asked of her and her staff that day was, could they think about possibly harm reduction sites, bringing them under the city's conditional use permit ordinance?
A conditional use permit requires businesses like bars and nightclubs to prove to the city they can operate without disrupting the surrounding community.
That's good. Good idea.
Lopez proposed applying that same standard to harm reduction sites.
Maybe just stop with harm reduction sites. Like, I think that's where we can do that first. I'm not encouraging the idea that we should have like flights of heroin, you know what I mean? Much like beer flights at a bar, you get a tasting. Like, they give you a little tiny tray and it's like 4 little glasses of beer. We need to stop doing that with heroin addicts. It's not a great idea. It's disgusting.
Jurado's response?
Whether it was the city council office or the city attorney, neither one has moved on my suggestion.
We also contacted all 5 members of the LA County Board of Supervisors.
Item 17 is before you.
The body that voted to fund this campus.
Motion carries.
None of the supervisors would go on camera.
It's all women. I'm sorry. It's no judgment, but if it was an all-man league that approved this bill into law, I would have pointed that out too. It's all women. I'm sorry. It's terrible.
Issue a statement.
Not even saying that the fact that this league is staffed by women is a bad idea. Maybe it is, given the fact that this was, approved. But whatever. It's just an interesting little factoid.
Not a surprise to Estela Lopez, Executive Director of the Downtown Industrial Business Improvement District.
What is it going to take for the power of the city and the county to step up and defend the safety of this community, both for the people who live indoors and the people who live outdoors?
We did receive this statement and told to attribute it to the County of Los Angeles. We recently increased campus security and expanded outreach on nearby streets to connect individuals to housing and support. The Skid Row Care Campus provides critical services to the community, including health care, case management, showers, and connection to housing.
Healthcare, case management, showers. You're lucky if they are interested in case management or connection to housing and subsidization. Who's to say that they deserve subsidies? Since when did somebody who shows up to your community and proves to be nothing but a leech deserves the government subsidies? Who decided that? I don't know. I certainly didn't. And I know that you didn't, because you're a common sense individual. And you know how I know that? You sticked around until the end, ladies and gentlemen.